Hello everyone, welcome back to When the Night Comes. We have a decision to make here. Finn, it's basically, Finn hasn't done anything. Finn just asked us how we feel. Now we have to decide if it's time for me to go, if I need a drink, or we should talk, which has a heart by it, which makes me think. And you know what I've done this entire game? I've played the field. I've went ahead and flirted with everybody, so we might as well keep doing it. Nothing bad ever happens when you do that, now is there? I find myself getting lost in molten gold, watching him watch me. A witty response turns to ash upon my tongue. I try to search his face for a clue about what he seeks, but I come up short. I feel that I should be doing anything other than talking to strange vampires in snow at this early hour. And yet here you are. I sigh, joining him and leaning against the wall, my breath turning to mist against the cold air. Here I am. I wish I knew it was about him what about him that draws me in, besides the, obvious, him being a hot vampire and whatnot. By all accounts, I should be overly cautious around such a creature, but Finn makes me feel more at ease than I thought possible. And I need that tonight more than ever. I want to get to know him, to understand why my heart pounds so feverishly whenever he's near. Pretty sure it's because he's a vampire and he's hot. I should head inside. My words sound dull, and I know I don't mean them. I'm looking for a reason to stay right here, anchored in this spot. You sound positively enthused. I shrug, sparing the old door at the tavern a glance. The sheets are scratchy, I'm just psyching myself up. That's fair. After a brief pause, he quickly steals his gaze. He reaches out and runs a cool iron finger along the curve of my cheekbone. The etchings flicker in the darkness.
You are quite lovely, you know.
You say, sir. I cannot resist the impulse to tip my head in blatant invitation. The way wolves show submission, bearing the column of my throat to a man that could rip it out in the blink of an eye. Oh, things are getting a little bit spicy up in here. His cool digit stops over the place where my pulse thrums furiously, and I no longer care that he can hear, that he knows what he's doing to me. He smells strangely like a dying summer, though I suspect his memories of sunshine are long dead.
Sweet dreams, fair hunter. I daren't keep you from your rest much longer.
Daren't? Daren't is a strange word, sir. My traitorous body shivers under his touch, and I mourn the loss of it when he finally pulls me away. He quickly stuffs his hand back into his coat pockets as if the temptation would be too much if he didn't. I take a deep breath and try to gather my wits. I can't seem to find it in me to mind. He smiles at that, and I sense reluctance as he pushes away from the wall, ready to depart.
Ah, alas, you have a town to save. Plus, the night is still young for a creature like myself.
I sigh, staying closer than is probably necessary, craving contact of any kind as I watch his grin grow wider. Right, I really should head inside, I suppose.
A pleasure as always. And remember, we've got your back. Should we find anything of interest overnight, I'll come running. Daylight permitting, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't really come out during the daytime, can you? Can you, go through the shadows? Can you, hop from shadow to shadow like that one video game that I totally can't remember right now? Okay, so, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Ddog, why are you romancing this vampire when you've been romancing Omen and you took him out on a date and stuff? Here's the deal. I'm greedy. Therefore, I want both the cold chill of him, but also the warmth pleasure of Omen. See, I can have both of them on my hands. Just make sure that they don't touch or they're gonna explode or something. I'm not really sure. I return a smile, pushing the heavy door of the wolf open and praying it doesn't creak and wake the other residents. Good night, Finn. I watch him go before I close the door, only the light of the moon guiding his way as he disappears into the darkness. I finally settle upon the hard mattress, the cheap sheets harsh against my skin as I attempt to get comfortable. Light from the low-hanging moon pours into my room. I've scrubbed myself clean of any traces of grime from the hunt, and I can't help but feel irritated from the sheer lack of progress I've made so far. I come to the conclusion that there are too many secret keepers in this town, and I refuse to feel defeated or let it continue. Overwhelmed by today's events, I find myself falling into a swift and dreamless sleep. Reality settles over me when I wake, a thick smog that almost suffocates me as I reluctantly drag myself from the almost comfort of my bed. I haven't had anywhere near enough rest, but I must relent. I gather the energy to dress and head downstairs to face whatever obstacles are hastily and inevitably shoved in my way. As my eyes take in the bleary sight of the empty tavern, the hideous sound of the scraping of wood against stone assaults my ears. In a corner of the room, Alcar stumbles to his feet, the chair he's been sitting on and almost toppling over. He catches it and sets it right, then grimaces briefly before stalking over to me. It's easy to see the hunch of his shoulders and the stiffness of his posture. For a moment, I wonder if he's hurt somehow, but as he comes closer, it seems more likely he's only wary? Perhaps not unusual, but with the commotion last night, it still puts me at ill ease. I don't need supernatural senses to know that this is going to be another pebble on the mountain of mysteries. He looks a mess. What has he been doing? Rolling around on the forest floor?
Hunter, I need to speak with you.
Okay, we can speak with me then. He doesn't sound like the aloof, cocky half Lycan I've come to know. He speaks forcefully, but there's a tremor in his voice that's hard to miss. What's wrong? Uh-oh, he's got blood on him. I saw that. The frown deepens. Instead of explaining himself, Alco holds out his hand and uncurls his fingers, revealing a crumpled ball of fabric. For a moment, I stare at him and at the things he's holding without comprehension. Alcar stares back, his expression telling me he thinks I'm an idiot at not getting what he's holding. But then I realize the distinctive purple under the dirt and the dried, crusted blood, and my stomach drops. Uh-oh. A hunter's sash. Alcar is holding a hunter's sash in his hand. Or what's left of it. The thing is in a sorry state, its original color almost indistinguishable under the grime. Carefully, I reach out to take it from him for closer inspection. He looks down.
It doesn't belong to the hunter that was killed last night. It doesn't belong to any of them. It's not right. The smell.
I stare at him in disbelief, shaking my head as I feel the gritty fabric beneath my fingers. Then who does it belong to? Alcar shrugs half-heartedly. In the tavern's uncertain light, his face is drawn and his eyes are sunken. Exhausted, I realize, but his tail still flicks back and forth, back and forth. In impatience or agitation, it's hard to tell with him. All I know is that Alcar is telling the truth for no other reason than because he's too worn out for deception. I tried, but I couldn't tell. I searched all night with Finn's clan, but we came up short. He looks over his shoulder, checking to ensure we don't have any company.
I have to be careful. I can't be seen with such things.
They'll think you did it. A sharp exhale, and he admits defeat, shoulders drooping, ears flat against his head. There's as much bitter resentment in his voice as there is sulk.
They'll make me pay for my generosity with my own blood. Again.
The certainty with which he says it makes my stomach drop almost as much as his grim resignation. If I gotta flirt, we're flirting with everybody. I can protect you, boy. I raise an eyebrow at him even as I carefully pocket the piece of evidence. I haven't forgotten the brief conversation with Finn in the graveyard about the strange smelling blood. This feels like a vague but worthwhile puzzle piece. And despite himself, Alcar delivered it to me, a stranger and a hunter at that, probably precisely because I am a stranger. Fuck knows he probably doesn't trust any of my colleagues in this town. Still, it got me touched. Don't worry, Alcar, I won't mention you, and even if they do try to give you trouble for it, they'll have to get through me first. Yeah, I'ma protect you, puppy. Alcar's jaw drops. He stares at me like I've just said something outlandish before the moment passes, and he takes a step back. A bark of a laugh bubbling out of him. I glare at him, and he grins right back with not an ounce of humility. Richer than you, that's for sure. What are you, 12? Right on your level then, right? Ha! The grin widens, his canines bared sharp and large in genuine amusement. Alcar surveys me for a moment with his arms still crossed, but there is something else in his gaze now. After a moment, he laughs again but averts his eyes. I don't miss that. Nor do I miss the blush. nor the fact that he can't seem to stop grinning for some reason.
You're a fucking riot, Hunter.
Seems your type. Ha ha ha, look at me being smooth. He rolls his eyes, looking none too upset. He leans closer suddenly, lowering his voice despite the empty tavern.
I don't know how much or how little you've decided to trust the Pomps in that workplace of yours. And I said all that shit about not trusting anyone. But just listen to me this once. Take that to Ezra, not your superior.
He regards me with the beseeching intensity, eyes flickering across my face like he's looking for some sort of gift, something he can trust. I don't know if I can give it to him. Alcar is concerned for his own well-being, I understand, but this is different. Yet I have no desire to bother Harry this morning, not after last night, and not over an inconclusive scrap of something that smells strange. August is another mystery altogether. Ezra does have a wonderful little shop of witchy magic. In a town this small, I can only surmise he would be the one with the most tools at his disposal to suss out an analysis for something like this. Suss. Gotta suss out everything. It does make sense to go with him, which is all well and good because Alcar is beginning to look downright fidgety. Alright, I'll go to Ezra with this. Alcar stares at me for a second longer, like he doesn't know if I was being honest. Eventually, however, his shoulders relax and he takes a step back. Yeah, you better understand that I'm being nice to everyone, which means technically I'm being nice to no one. I don't know, it's a bit strange here. I'm playing the field. I can't trust anybody, but I can also trust everyone. That's not how that works. Back to this.
Then my job's done. Hope you don't mind me quitting this place. The tavern's no fun when there's nobody here to annoy.
He drops into a mocking half-ass bow, his tail swishing, and then all but squeezes himself out the door right past me before I can so much as frown. I stare where Alcar has already vanished. I wonder for a moment if I should chase him down. He's no hunter, and I have a feeling not entirely natural that the thing out there isn't interested in Lycans, witches, demons, or vampires. It's nothing to do with the killing pattern, it's... sighing, I tuck my coat out a little tighter around myself and reluctantly make to follow his path. Breakfast will have to wait. Aw, we gotta have brunch though. I want my waffles. The shop is empty when I arrive, then that comforting tinkle of the bell that sits above the door welcoming me. Ezra is nowhere to be seen, but I do spot a small white cat curled up at the foot of the shop counter. A curious creature, one that gives off the same soothing magical aura as her assumed owner. The purple curtain that separates the shop and living quarters twitches, and Ezra emerges clutching a cup of steaming tea, not streaming tea, not tea that goes on Twitch.
I'm so relieved to see that you're okay.
The cat's ears twitch at the sound of his voice, and she stretches, sauntering over to him and parading herself in between his legs. He ignores her, moving to place his tea upon the counter. I heard that you were to depart to the festival. What? Let me just try that. Let me try that again, shall we? I heard that you had to depart the festival quite abruptly. We were all worried. I nod politely, offering him a clipped smile. I did, unfortunately. I hope you've had enough rest. You look exhausted, not that I'm surprised after what I assume was an incredibly late evening. Would you like some tea? The sash feels heavy in my coat, and as much as I enjoy exchanging pleasantries with the witch, I'm here for a reason. Yes, we have a job to do, sir. I actually need your help with something quite urgent. You do? What is it? Both the cat and Ezra watch me intently as I retrieve the sash, the violet bloodied fabric unfurling as I hold it up. The cat hisses, her hackles raised as she darts into the back room. That paired with the look on Ezra's face unnerves me, and I sigh heavily, exasperated as he rushes past me to lock the front door. Deadbolt and all. He faces the door, his palm splayed flat upon the window pane. It glows a pleasant shade of blue as he whispers what I assume to be a ward incantation before he turns to join me. Though we're quite clearly alone, his voice is tactfully quiet.
Where exactly did you get that?
The words rush out of him, and his aura is panic, so much so that I begin to feel a terrible sense of unease washing over me. Ezra is the one person I truly had no hesitation about trusting from the start, someone I thought I could rely on, but I find myself questioning his intentions. The way he said that is as if he's seen it before. Now, Did Alcar already show him and it's the same piece of fabric? Or was he there during whatever that happened? Or, second thing, it's not supposed to smell like a hunter. Maybe it's one of his things. I mean, all it is a sash that's purple. It could be something that's his. Could he possibly already know who this belongs to? And if so, how? Alcar found it in the woods last night. He told me to bring it to you and only you. He runs a hand through his curls, and I noticed that it's shaking. Ezra, are you okay? A heavy exhale, and he closes his eyes, shaking his head before he meets my gaze.
I don't think you understand. This puts us all in danger.
We were already in danger, sir. Danger? I don't understand. It's just a sash. I simply hoped you could identify who it belonged to. You're aware of who its owner is, I assume, based on your reaction. Right, you need to tell me what you know. I played dumb, disguising my interest in the fact that I know it's not the new victims. If he's hiding something, I'll find out. He moves around to the other side of the counter, nervously rearranging a pile of glowing crystals and pushing aside a dish filled with colorful gems. He spares me a glance as he takes a seat, and then he forces a smile. I have an inkling, yes. Okay, but why are you smiling? Is it yours? May I? He holds out his hand, which I observe is now perfectly steady. I'm hesitant to part with my scrap after that little display of uncertainty, and he seems to have collected his thoughts. Are you sure? He nods, wiggling his fingers impatiently. He's basically like, gimme.
As sure as I'll ever be. Now, let us get this over with.
Yes, but what is it that we're getting over with? Confused here. As soon as the sash meets his palm, a bright emerald light emanates from his fingertips. The fabric hovers mid-air, suspended by vibrant whirls of magic. The movement of Ezra's hands is fluid like water as he commands a spell. I watch in awe as a mark forms before him, indecipherable shapes shifting and changing. His eyes are alight, brighter than ever, as the blood that coats the sash seems to pull away from the fabric, suspended along his magic. It's beautiful, a truly impressive display, but I ensure that I don't take my eyes off him for even a second. You don't know what spookiness he could be up to. His lips part, his brow deeply furrowed as he concentrates. He doesn't look pleased, and I'm not entirely sure exactly what he's doing, but whatever it is, I just hope that it helps. This is the first solid piece of evidence I've managed to get my hands on, and I refuse to rest until I get a name. A sharp inhale, and Ezra closes his eyes tight, the magic dissipating, and the sash falls and settles upon the wood. He drops his head, his knuckles tight as he grips the edge of the counter. What does he know? I had a feeling. Okay, yeah, can you tell me what your feeling is, sir? Ezra, work with me here. I need you to be honest. He looks scared, maybe a little upset.
This is way bigger than me, but I can't in good conscience keep this from you.
Why don't you just tell me then instead of being all weird about it? I'm not sure if he's talking directly to me or if he's reassuring himself. I suspect it's the latter. I try to remain calm, and I truly am unsurprised that yet another person in this town has managed to refrain from divulging potentially valuable information. Everyone keeps keeping secrets from me. Stop keeping secrets from me. Detective Ddog is on the case. This sash belongs to a girl named Aya Walker. Aya? I'm gonna guess Aya. I don't know. Aya? I like Aya better. Aya Walker. He pushes away from the counter, putting distance between himself and the sash, eyeing it warily. Or Aya. I'm gonna say Aya Walker. And who exactly is Aya Walker?
I really shouldn't say anymore. I would hate for any harm to come to you because of me.
Yeah, but dude, sir, I am a big boy. I can handle myself. I've got things that I can do. Harm? Who would harm me over something as insignificant as a name? I'm growing increasingly more frustrated as the minutes pass by, and Ezra can tell. I know he's not stupid. If anything, he's too smart. I suppose he's just looking out for himself, but whatever knowledge he's retaining is clearly valuable, and I must know. I think back to what Omen said only a few nights ago, about Finn visiting less, about Ezra being tired all the time. Is this connected somehow? Man, you, Ezra, you're becoming very, very, very... you're suspicious, sir. I'm gonna do a vote in a second. We're gonna kick you off the island. You're safe. I'll protect you. No, thank you. I've been playing the field. I get this. I don't trust him though, and I want to get to the bottom of this. So, boom. He continues to stare me down at the sash with a pitiful gaze. I truly am done playing games. If my name isn't Ddog Plays Games, I'm done playing games here. That's funny. It's like my own catchphrase. Ezra, I need you to tell me. I don't have time for this. He looks away, avoiding eye contact as he bites his bottom lip. He's clearly waging a war with himself, deciding what his best course of action is here. His aura is still panicked, a little erratic, but I do not yield. I'll find out another way now that I have her name, but I'd rather hear it from you. You know, you're the one who told me. Finally, he looks at me. His eyes are wide, and he nervously fiddles with the fur that edges his cuffs. He gives in, thankfully deciding that helping me is better than staying silent and apparently letting it eat him up.
Aya was a general.
Aya.
She was relatively new
Knew
in
I was
town
right.
after being transferred here and was arrested quite suddenly. No one outside of the enforcers knows why. Like some dirty little secret.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Why are you being all weird about that? I remain calm despite how much this information alarms me. Hunters, especially generals, are not often arrested for minor crimes. And her charges? He shakes his head. I don't know what to do with this information. A young general being thrown into dungeons is alarming, especially when there's no apparent reason. Treason, murder, unlawful torture, those are all things that I know hunters have been imprisoned for, but never without the public having full knowledge. Such events are not usually quiet ones. We have families and friends, we save lives. There must be something somewhere that tells me why she was stripped of her title and thrown in jail. Why don't we go visit her? Can we go visit her? Are there visiting hours? I take the sash from the counter and tuck it beside my coat. Back inside my coat, and Ezra keeps a close eye on the movement as it may jump out and bite him. Who was their enforcer? Ezra throws me that look again, the one where he looks sad and reluctant. Okay. My guess is it's gonna be August, and therefore I need to confront August about this. Or there's something to do with that. Gus, nailed it. Chalk one for Mr. Ddog Plays Games, even though maybe I think we're on 2 right now. I don't know. Point is, I'm the best. I am the detective here. Of course, because I don't have enough on my plate already. He quickly scrambles to add to his statement, clearly not wanting me to think ill of August.
Only in the interim while her transfer was processed. She and Piper hit it off quite quickly, but she was gone before she had a chance to thrive.
I take a step towards the door, and Ezra nervously follows. Where are you going? He looks like he wants to reach out and stop me, but he thinks better of it. I'm going to clear my head before I don't know. I reach to turn the locks, then for the handle, watching his ward shimmer and fade as he reluctantly waves his hand. Something begs at me to pause. Tell me, why are you so afraid?
I'm scared to learn the truth. I've only ever wanted to find somewhere to settle, somewhere quiet and away from the things that gave me nightmares. I found that here. I found love, a family, and yet...
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is a town that has apparently had some problems, so you didn't really get away from anything. In the end, this is going to help everybody. Nothing lasts forever. He shakes his head.
Everything crumbles, eventually. That's why I'm afraid. I just want a normal life.
We stare at each other down for a lingering moment, and I truly feel sorry for him, for everyone in this town. I assume that associating yourself with creatures doesn't grant you much peace. It does not. I drop my head, my mind swimming. People are dying and being thrown in dungeons. I've got your back, Ezra, just as long as you have mine. I think you just stay safe. We need you. Okay, so what do we know? There was this girl named Aya. And Aya was a person who general or something, a person, hunter, gender, whatever, that got stuck in jail and stripped of her title. We don't know why. We know that August was associated with it just because in the in-between phase. We know that also Piper knows about this person. So we should go talk to one of them. That would be the smart thing to do. Chill air hits me as soon as I open the door of Ezra's shop and step inside. It hisses in my ears, piercing through my layers like it wants to chase me back indoors. I can think of no alternative more So what? I can think of no alternative more enticing, but my work is done here and I need to move on. Not a moment less well timed, it seems, as I close the door and immediately notice a familiar face skulking about just out of my vision until now. Omen startles when he realizes I've spotted him. He takes a full step away from me, one hand half raised, his tail lashing like a snake. For reasons I can't even begin to fathom, there's genuine fear in his face. Omen. Oh, we're going to speak to him. He's been my favorite so far. The first thought to cross my mind that he's suspiciously distraught. The second is that it pains me to see him that way. Maybe a distraction is in order. I try to catch Omen's eye and wink at him. Speak of the devil, I was wondering where you were. Ha ha, because he's a demon. Did I imagine that he stiffens at the words? It's hard to tell how stiff he already is. It lasts only for a second before his face turns red. Maybe redder than just a blush. Something flickers in Omen's eyes, like embers about to burst to life. He looks sideways too quickly for me to make sure. His aura churns, shifts, but doesn't change. Omen's twists a strand of hair around one finger and tugs at it, his tail twitching most anxiously, adorably. Omen cringes, rubbing at his cheek. After you left, things seemed to turn a bit chaotic, and I thought it was best I go away for a while. That was smart. Omen nods, his ears drooping. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you too. I was worried I scared you away after the moment we almost... I wave a hand vaguely over my shoulder, hoping that that's the direction of the docks, the almost kiss that August would have skinned me alive for. Not that Omen seems to need directions. He's looking at my shoes, at the door to Ezra's shop, at my shoes, at something behind me, anything but looking at my face right now. No, you don't scare me off. I wasn't running away. I enjoyed our night together. You were very kind to spend it with me. I feel the same. He laughs, the sound startled and helpless, but even as he stifles it, a grin dances around the corner of his lips. It lasts for just a moment before he falls serious again. I'm looking for someone. Who you looking for, boy? Let's find them together. Omen says this very quietly, like he's confessing a secret. He scans my face with eyes flickering red rather than the usual warm brown. I wait since there's little else I can say. Then something seems to resolve. Omen looks from me to Ezra's door, then takes a step back, his mouth tight.
She's probably not in there. I should get going. It's nice seeing you again.
She. Okay, we only know of 2 women so far. We know of Piper, we know of the barmaid, and 3 women. Piper, barmaid, and then the new Aya. Has to be one of those 3. He makes a turn away, and I don't know what moves me to act. Perhaps it's his aura, the way I suddenly sense it swell under his glamour and spot the wisp of flame trailing from his hair and the tips of his ears. Perhaps he's walking away and I simply can't let him go right now. Perhaps I'm tired of one more fucking mystery in this town. Either way, I reach out and grab his wrist. Wait. And instantly regret it. Heat scorches my hand, forcing me to withdraw from a small cry. Ooh, he looks spooky right now. Omen looks over his shoulder at me with glowing amber eyes, his lips drawn back in a half snarl. His still eerily human face is framed by a wreath of fire. My guts clench, twists drop under the sudden glimpse of an immense, blistering presence that sprung up out of nowhere. My instincts scream at me in warning. Demon. Then Omen jerks back as though out of a trance, and everything extinguishes. I don't know how long we stand outside Ezra's shops with the space of a sword swing between us. Omen's arms are limp by his sides, making no move to defend himself. All he does is stare at me with huge eyes and palpable horror.
I'm sorry.
I force my mouth to open and tell him it's all right. I have had worse, really, but I can only pry my jaw apart. The words I can't force through. He's not waiting to hear them. He's stepping away, 1, then 2, then 3, and he turns around and flees. I can't move my legs to follow. By the time I get control of myself back, Omen's already long gone. In hindsight, I'm glad I couldn't follow him. It takes a tremendous effort for me to pry my stiff fingers from the comfort of my weapon. I've been sitting in my room at the Wolf, waiting for the sun to set, waiting for darkness to fall so I can carry out my next move. No messenger had come to summon me to headquarters, and neither had August come to bang down my door. I gather that the identification of the deceased hunter is taking a little longer than expected. Or, many dark things crossed my mind, but I pushed them away, like they found out who it is and they don't want me to know yet. I meant it when I said that I'm tired of being pushed from pillar to post, kept in the dark. Enough is enough. If this town wants saving, then I'll do it on my terms. And you know what? Next time, we're gonna try to do that on our terms. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed this, please like it. Anyway, goodbye, everybody.